Welcome back, everybody. This is Lindsay. This is Linda's Investing, and I am in $1 million debt, and that's okay because it's good debt, right? So, if you don't know my story, I live in Los Angeles. I invest in Indiana. I have now 12 properties in the same city, basically. My first venture into real estate started in 2022, where I purchased one property. And then in 2023, I purchased one property. So I was following that one rent at a time model for sure. But then in 2024, Lindsay went crazy. And yes, I'm talking of myself in the third person because I purchased 6 properties, not one, not two, 6 properties. So, and the following year, which was 2025, I purchased 3 properties. And 2026, I just closed on one property. So even though I have 12 properties in the same area, and I feel like I leveled up my skills of real estate investing because I go from conventionally investing to creative to doing bursts and other things, I feel like real estate investing has opened my eyes to different things that I want to do with my life and with my career and other things. But this video, I wanted to definitely come in and do a portfolio review. So for this, where are my properties now? How are they doing? So 2022, bought my first property. When I bought this property, my PITI was $880 and it rented for $1,400. So I had a pretty good cushion there, which was happy. Where are my properties now? So since then, this is my first property that I purchased in Hammond. Taxes had gone up, so I know taxes assessment trigger right after I purchased a property, which was like a surprise for me. Which one of the things that a rookie does that did not calculate the current reassessment of the taxes, which was me. Which it took me from a cash on cash return from like 9% to like 6%, I think, when trigger reassessment. But the property now is rented for $1,500, and my PITI is $975. So it's still pretty much we have some room there for me to continue to cash flow, but definitely a learning lesson with the tax reassessment. Property number 2, purchased in 2023. The property was purchased for $55,000. Oh, forgot to mention. The first property was purchased for $135,000. When I closed on a PITI was $880. So now PITI is $975 and it's rented for $1,500. Property number 2, it's rented for purchase price was $55,000. I put in a new roof on the property, so there's some money in there. And I rented for $1,100 at the time. I still rented for $1,100. And PITI it's about $562. Property number 3. This was my first BRRRR. If you want to hear about my first BRRRR and how it caught on fire, please go check out my other video because that was a travesty and definitely tested my journey and had a come to Jesus moment for that property too. But that was my first BRRRR, and I purchased that for $35,000. Had to put in about $33,000 worth of work, and now it's rented for $1,250. And my PITI on that property is $847. Next property is a seller finance deal that I rented. I took over empty, and it's rented right now. Purchase price is $85,000. My PITI on that property is $682, and it's rented for $1,250. Now, property number 5, another seller finance deal, and this property is rented for $1,100 a month, and this one is PITI is $748. Okay, my 6th deal property is rented for $1,100 My PITI is about $607, and purchase price was about $85,000. Property number 7 is another seller finance deal. The property is rented for $1,250. My PITI on that property is $579, and this is another seller finance deal. Now, in 2024, like I mentioned, I bought a bunch of BRRRRs that I've been slowly attacking over the course of the last 2 years because BRRRRs take a lot of time, if you didn't know, guys. So my BRRRR that took the most amount of money, actually, and now looking back, it's probably one of my worst purchases. It's a duplex brick top and bottom unit, and now it's rented. Both units are rented. The first unit is rented for $1,200, and the top unit is rented for $1,150. And this is a BRRRR that I did. I was able to get my money back of the deal, but I had to install stairs and staircasing and covering and roofing. So I have about $10,000 left in this deal from those stairs. Which that came with 2 units, right? One unit and the second unit. And then I have property number 10. This property proved to be my best BRRRR because I purchased it for $32,000. I think I put maybe $20,000 worth of work on there, but I appraised for like $165,000. So I was able to get a lot of money out of it. Bought almost $40,000 to $50,000. So this was definitely my best deal. But with that came a setback because I did take out $100K out of this property. So my PITI on that's $902, and the rent that I could take for this property, I thought it was going to be $1,350, and so I will leave still some cash flow in there. But when I had it ready for rent, it wasn't renting as well as I thought it would be. So it came with the lesson of like always underestimate your rents, even when you think you have a nail dialed in. So this one is rented for $1,236, and my PITI on this is $900. So it's a pretty skinny deal, but I will make it work for now. Then I have property number 11, and this is, or unit number 11. This property I purchased for $68,000 on the MLS, and this was a 2-bedroom, 1.5 baths that I turned into 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So this one was a BRRRR too. I haven't really doesn't qualify as a BRRRR because I bought it conventionally, and then I'm going to try to refinance out of conventionally into a DSCR. Mostly because there's some money that I put into the rehab, so I want to get that money back and be able to have no money back in the deal. This is rented for $1,400, and my mortgage on that is $546. And then property number 12, which is my recent BRRRR that I just finished. This one was purchased for $21,000, and now renting. Oh, well, not rented yet, but somebody already left a deposit, so to be rented for $1,250. This is a BRRRR too, so I was able to get my money out of the deal. And a little bit more. And then I have property number or unit number 13, which I just closed on, and this was already rented when I took it over. So purchase price is $99,000, but I have zero money out of pocket for this deal. So definitely a better deal of this year, and not planning to buy because if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of crazy. So in 2024, I went a little bit crazy and I really want to stabilize and now have everything pretty much, not try to pay a contractor every month thousands of dollars. So when everything is rented, which currently everything is rented, I should be able to get about $16,000 worth of rent, and my debt service on that, it's about $9,000. So I should be able to cash flow after property managers without CapEx about 5,600. And I also have one more unit that I haven't counted here, and that's the midterm unit that I have built in the back of my house, which was the ADU, which I finished building. I started building, I want to say, in 2024 is when I put in the permits, and in 2025 it's when I finished building, and I just rented out September of last year. So that's another unit that I have. So total of 14 units, and that's rented for $2,000 a month. And I wanted to go over this just because, of course, to keep me sane as well. None of this has come without these challenges, even though it might sound like it. I bought 6 properties in 2024, and because I couldn't dedicate time or money from all the properties at the same time, I had to sit down on properties that were just sitting there. And because I had a HELOC, I have to still make payments. Interest only payments, but payments nonetheless. So during the last 2 years, I've been making payments and not necessarily working on the houses that I purchased. So one house at a time has definitely become a better model for me. Like year 1 and year 2, when I purchased one house in each year, it was one of the things that was the better thing to do. But I felt like I got very excited, and I learned a lot of techniques like seller financing and borrowing that I definitely wanted to try and to incorporate in everything. And also, I do have a W-2, high income W-2 that continues to allow me to be able to pay all my bills and then pay for rehabs and then pay for the interest payments on the HELOC that I have on the standing balance. I know that 2025, between 2024 and 2025, I got burned out from births, and I know I was carrying a lot of stress. All of that stress is pretty much from actively rehabbing properties and just finding, one of my furnaces stopped working, or mid rehab, like you need another roof, things like that. And so I think that the stress that I had from those births definitely wore me down, and that's why I want to chill down the rest of the year this year. But I also think that I'm extremely conservative in my numbers. When I purchased the deal, I definitely underwrote very, very conservatively, and so when I got surprised with higher appraisal rates, then it was a nice surprise. But it would have worked out even at lower appraisal rates. So I think that also I have a lot of safety guards. I have financial stability. I'm able to keep track of my finances. Like I know how much money I make. I know how much money I spend. I know how much money I can save. And I do a lot of things that are not probably conventional. Like I will adjust the way that I get my tax subjective filings done during the year, because I am very aware of how much money I'm putting, for example, in a 401k, so I can deduct that from my current income, and I know I'm going to be taxed at a lower rate. So at the end of the year, I don't owe money and I don't get a refund either. Most of the times I break even, or I have to send a little bit of payment. And then that's something that I would only suggest to people that really are dialed in of like the kind of money that they do bring and then they need to save. I max out my 401k, for example. even during these times in which I'm doing real estate investment, and that's because it decreases my taxable income, so I pay less taxes, and I'm able to draw loans from the 401k if I need it, for example, and that's another safety blanket that I have. Another thing is I max out my HSAs, because the HSAs you can invest it, and even though I pay most out of pocket for any type of medical things that I do need, I keep the receipts so I can ask for a reimbursement at any time. That's something else that I do. But it doesn't come with its own challenges, right? Like, I'm always running numbers in my head. I'm always trying to make sure that I have just enough. Personally, I have an emergency fund from my own home and from my own personal expenses that is 6 months worth of. If I didn't have a job, I could still go 6 months without even having to worry about making my bills and making my mortgage. That's for my own personal. For my business, I started working for my business. I have a little emergency fund for my business, so I'm able to pay for overhead for the next 6 months. Now I want the same peace of mind for my rental income, my rental portfolio. So that's something that I'm not comfortable not having. So I want one of my goals this year is to save $50,000 so I can have peace of mind for anything that happening to my rentals. And again, I still have the HELOC available because the borrowers have paid back, and I'm not doing it anymore, so I'm not drawing from it anymore. And I also have the retirement accounts that I'm talking about in case everything else fails. And there's always credit cards. But yes, this is the overview of my portfolio. This is 3 years, going on 4 years in the making. And the only thing I think it's just I don't talk about much as it's about the downsides of real estate and how stressful it is sometimes. But I think I just carry the personality of everything can be fixed, and if it can be fixed, then if it's a lesson that you have to learn, then it's a lesson that I have to learn. I think pushing through and then learning that most things you can, I'm not talking about like foundation problems or anything like that, but stretching, for example, like if you are not able to get something done on a one timeline, because I'm not relying on private money or hard money, and I'm relying only on myself. And I think that's probably the saving grace for most of my projects, is I'm not overextending and over leveraging myself to the point that I am gonna be bankrupt. So it takes a lot of discipline to know exactly what payments need to come out from where and from what. And it takes a lot of mental power all the time. Like, I go to bed and I think about like things of I could do to maximize savings, to how can I pay credit, I can pay through credit card points, or what accounts I need to move from what accounts to make the payments on time, and mortgages, paying the mortgages monthly, and all of that. So it sounds like a lot, right? It is a lot, but at the same time, I'm willing to do the work ahead right now, so I don't have to do the work ahead later. One time I was sitting down on my couch and I was thinking, like, why, even though I was sick last week and I had a cold, and I went to work and I came back from work, and then I still have my private business after work, so I still work the additional 2 hours. So like from 5 to 7 p.m. I still work the additional 2 hours. Instead of like, I could have canceled those appointments or I could have rescheduled, but even though I was sick, I was pushing myself to do that. And then I see my boyfriend playing on the computer, and I was like, why is it that I have this drive to be on top of it and then work even harder now? And I think I have this drive is because I don't want to work harder later. And then, so if I can do it now when I'm 36, when I have the energy, when I'm young, and when I don't have any medical problems, and I can do all of those things right now and then not have to worry about it, like let's say in 10 years or in 15 years, or having to take time off, or like, I don't know, my parents are aging, so my parent to take care of my parents, or like taking them to appointments or something like that. I want to be able to do that. So, and I want to be able to, at that time, delegate or cancel or reschedule. And while I don't have those limitations and the responsibilities now, I can do it now. So that's what I'm always thinking about. Well, hope this video helped you, or maybe didn't. Let me know if you have any questions. If you're interested in investing in dairy, please contact me. I'm always welcoming anybody that has an interest. See you next time.